Alright guys, in this video it's part 2 of 4 for this specific lesson, and we're going to use the sine function and apply that to a triangle to set up the ratios and figure out what the sine of a specific angle would be. Alright, so this example says that we have to find the sine of u and the sine of w. We have to write each answer as a decimal rounded to the hundredths place. So remember, we have to use SOHCAHTOA as a guide for us to see how we actually would set up our ratios. And since we're trying to figure out what the sine of u and the sine of w would be, we don't even need the ka and the toa. So that's unnecessary. But keeping that in mind, how we actually relate the sides and the ratios with a specific function. So let's first find out what the sine of u is. Okay, so the sine of u is dealing with the opposite over hypotenuse. So then right now I'm drawing an eye at the u looking at the triangle, and I identified the hypotenuse that's across from the right angle. That's my h. So then across from my eye, across from angle u, is side wv. This side's the opposite side. And then the side that's right next to it is considered the adjacent side. Okay, so then sine of u is equal to the opposite over hypotenuse. So substituting what I know, the opposite side is 16 and the hypotenuse is 34. So the sine of u is equal to 16 over 34. Well, let's reduce this fraction. We get 8 over 17. So the question asks us to write our answers rounded as a decimal. So we would actually calculate 8 over 17 and divide that out and get 0.476. And since it wants it to the hundredths place, we can just erase that second part right there. Okay, so then our answer is sine of u equals 0.47. I do have the answer written also as a fraction or a ratio, just so that you know that the opposite side would be, the ratio would be 8 to 17. Now we have to figure out what the sine of w is. So then I'm going to erase my diagram and draw my eye at w. Okay, so the opposite side, the hypotenuse is going to be across from the right angle again, which is still 34. The opposite side now is across from the eye. Okay, so then across from the eye is side uv, which is 30. And the last side, the adjacent side, is going to be 16, wv. So then going back to my trig ratio, opposite over hypotenuse is going to be 30 over 34. Reducing that down to 15 divided by 17, or 15 to 17. So sine of w as a ratio is 15 over 17, and as I calculate it as a decimal, sine of w, I'm going to actually divide 15 and 17 together. We get 0.8824, and again, keeping the answer rounded to the nearest hundredths, we can erase the second two decimal places.